That's my like.
Let's talk about, since I guess we in the dating realms or whatever the case may be. Let's talk about within dating experiences. Do you feel like, or even relationship, do you feel like after it's over, it was pointless?
So I used to believe that it was a waste of time, but now I don't. I feel like everything is a lesson and a learning experience.
She reads books, ladies.
I don't.
She watches
I
this
want to
podcast.
though. I really
I
want to
got some
read.
recommendations for you.
I have a list.
Oh, just go through buy the books. Use
No,
the
I'm
list.
in school,
The
so
list
I'm
keep
reading
growing.
in school. I'm
Hey, I'ma
writing
just keep adding to
papers.
the list. Oh, all right.
So
I want to talk about we're gonna talk about some entrepreneurship shit too, because I know you had a salon before. I had a salon before. Maybe
Yeah.
we can unpack our salon traumas.
You ask some question.
I was not throwing it to you.
Oh yeah, I was.
Oh,
gonna-
the same question, I guess too.
Yeah, I'll tie together with another thought to that. The idea of like, couples therapy. Me and Wolf briefly spoke of that before, but the idea of like, even though he's such a big proponent of therapy, not so much with couples. And it's funny because actually, my homegirl, she goes to therapy with her partner, and it's been more and more on my mind. It's actually more of an attractive or idea of me to like go to couples therapy versus just solo therapy.
And I want to update my perspective. I think
Okay.
that I was hugely against it. before.
Right,
You know
yeah.
where my stance was at.
Yeah.
I will say I understand. And if I felt like it was worth it, like this is what has to be done, I would be probably open. But I still stand more against it than for it. But at the same time, for myself, not for the world, like do what works. But I think within like the last couple of days, I don't know, I was on a call, I think with my brother, my oldest brother, and he said something about it. Maybe I'll just like need like a mediator or some shit. And I'm just like, all right. But then I thought about it. I'm like, what would that look like? But I'm really a real huge proponent of self-work. And I feel like no amount of no therapy matters if you don't do the work. Therapy is not just a conversation. It's a form. It's a process, right? And it's like you have to do the work when you're going to therapy, even as a couple. So if your therapist give you practices to do, hey, how would you compliment your partner? Send 5 compliments a day, and you do the same. And y'all go home and y'all do none of the fucking practices. It's a waste of time.
Absolutely.
Or I'm really on the tip, like we should be able to have. I got my 4 agreements. Like there's a book called The 4 Agreements. I don't want y'all to confuse it too. My 4 agreements in a relationship is don't lie to me. No, first is don't think for me. Like, don't think for me. Like, I got to be able to think for myself. I don't want you assuming you know where I'm coming from. I don't want you to assume you know how I'm going to react based on past experiences. Let me reserve the right to grow and respond differently. I might have got mad 50 times, but on the 51st time, still present me the opportunity to grow, to learn, to be different as I want to do the same. The second is don't lie to me, right? Because lying to me is like utterly disrespectful, it's deceptive, it's cheating. I look at that as like the scum of the earth. You lying to me. So don't think for me, don't lie to me. My third is we handle everything in-house. Like, so that goes to the couples therapy. It's like, I feel like we should be able to communicate to a certain level to where though we handling our issues in-house. We don't got to run to this person, run to that person, run to this person, because we got to have a united front. Shit don't got to appear to be perfect, but it got to be solid. And I want y'all to understand the difference in the two. No relationship is perfect, but you want to have a solid relationship to where people don't feel like they can break it down. You want it to be impenetrable. You follow what I'm saying? Where like people understand like, oh, that's a good couple. Of course, every couple go through shit, but you don't want it to be where people know where the chinks in the armor and like, oh, like that's like, you know, a motherfucker, yeah, that window right there don't lock. So you can always go in that with. That's what happens when you take things, you know, out how you will tell the therapist how you really feel, but you never said these things to your partner for them to be able to correct and rectify the behavior, which is why I told you to call your dad. You don't give a person the opportunity to grow, and you strip them of that if you don't communicate. Then last for me is stand on what you do. I don't do victim playing. It's like if you go out and you fuck off, or I go out, I fuck off, stand on that shit. Like we can work it out or decide to work past it or get away from each other, whatever the situation is, whether you're being disrespectful, you're doing this, you're lying. When that time comes, stand on it. Don't try to deflect and be like, oh, no, I did that because you did that. So my 4 agreements, I just stand is don't think for me, don't lie to me. We keep everything in your house and stand on what you do. And if those 4 things are intact in any relationship, my own included, in any situation, I feel like you got a solid foundation. So for me, going back to my 3rd agreement, which is keep everything in house, the therapy thing, I'm so against it because I feel like I would be offended if I'm sitting there and I'm just hearing about these things for the first time, and we could have talked. Even if we were all here together, we slept next to each other, and you waited till this person was here to say these things. And for me, it's just like that's just a weakness. Even if it is a professional licensed therapist, they still a person that it just shows that we can't get it together. Now we tried our way and it don't work. That's when I'm like, calling help. We tried it that way. We obviously need another perspective.
Right.
I can fuck with that.
How I look at it and envision it is idea of like, you know, to her pun intended, like a fitness journey. So it's like, yeah, sometimes you may need, like, if it's like break the glass emergency, you may need some shit like that where it's emergency. But in the day, like, no, you probably need to get on the treadmill. Get on the bench press, whatever. So I look at it as like, oh, we may have some kinks, or we feel, oh, we could do things better. Like maybe we try some couples therapy, whatever. And how I envision is nothing is necessarily revealed that's new, but it's once it's revealed or not revealed, once it's presented, this third party can add another perspective that's not biased. We don't know either of these people, whatever. And they can say, hey, yeah, like, and I told my girl, I was like, yeah, like, how I see it happen, we ever do this, either this therapist is going to agree with everything I say and you're going to just resent it and reject it because I'm going to be right, or and what other one? I'm going to be right.
Oh, so you're not wrong in neither idea. I was hoping everybody give me the counter.
No, I think I said like it makes. Oh, that's what I said. Either way, like one option is it's the greatest thing that ever happens. Oh shit, how she saw your perspective, how she presented this and made this point. Wow, greatest thing. We both agree. Great work. Or doesn't work at all. We stay exactly the same, and you reject it, resent it because she just agrees with me all the time. Because that's what's gonna happen. Because that's how I look at it. I'm not a person that thinks I'm perfect. I think we had enough conversations.
I don't think you think that.
Exactly. So many things that I say or think, I know that, I can see the other side of this. Like, I can get it. Where I think her situations where we disagree with things, she really don't be seeing it at all. So I feel like if it was a third party being like, no, this, I think it'll be interesting how she will receive it, though. Where I can see someone saying like, yeah, Q, I don't agree with that. I'd be like, okay.
So more times than not, you feel like they'll be able to help her digest what you're saying.
Right, and how she receives that will determine
because she's not emotionally attached to the person's perspective as she is to you, and it's not that whole back and forth rivalry going on. Whereas though, even if you are right, I'm not admitting that you're right because that makes me wrong, and you get a point on the board. I'm not giving you no points. Yeah, so I can see it being that, and even couples coaching or whatever. And I think that just having good, like, all right. So I guess for me, that's all right. Let me be careful, right? Because I do a lot of self work, right? A lot. Like we doing the fast right now. You're doing the journaling. I don't have to journal every day because that's just a regular practice that I do. Like, I naturally read, I do these things, but we're challenging each other to do things we don't normally do, right? So that's what makes it a challenge, right? But in a nutshell, I guess I got to say, for the people out there, you do need coaching. You do need other perspective because you can't lean on your own understanding if you haven't gone to the depths in which I've went. I've read hundreds of books. I've wrote books. I've watched countless film and, like, different, not even films, but just like,
not films. Not films.
Yeah, that too. But I've done a lot of research. Right. I did go to school. I did get certified to be a coach. So I do it. Then I actually am actively in therapy doing the work. Right. So I guess for me, where I'm at in my development, it's why I have a certain perspective on it. But I also am a certified coach, and I help people every day who are misperceiving or, just haven't went there. So let me say this. I will be a proponent of couples therapy because you might need that third perspective because you are leaning on your own understanding. There's too much emotion involved, too much arguing, too much this. Y'all become each other's enemy. And you laying down with your enemy. And now, no matter how much right you are, you wrong because you just you.
But I see she's trying to get out of it. So in your case, Miss, how do you feel about?
I'm glad you said the last thing you just said.
How do you feel about couples therapy? Do you see that something that would be valuable to you or useful or something to be like maybe an adjustment? Are you into therapy in general on the solo?
I'm all for therapy. I feel like it's something that everyone should do, whether you're in a relationship, not in a relationship, whether you feel you're healed or you're unhealed. I feel
Why
like
you looking at me when you say that?
She definitely swung. She swung her head. Dang. Like she did this. She said, "You feel like you healed or unhealed?" Like, go ahead.
Oh my goodness, no. But I do think that it's very healthy, because let's say, for instance, I could feel like I'm healed today, but the slightest trigger can throw me all the way off. But if I'm in therapy and I have this person that could pretty much keep me on my toes and regulate my emotions, then that's a good way to help.
So would you do that as a couple?
As a couple, yes.
Yeah, because some people be largely with it, some people be largely against it because they feel like this therapist gonna take a side, and once somebody has a favorite, it's like if you always wrong Q and there's a man, is you gonna fuck with it? Like you follow what I'm saying? Would you like it in that regard? So it's a lot of components, but that's why I think individual therapy, like you said, because you don't know it's a trigger until you're triggered, and people they wonder why they get so anxious and so how you turn around and it's like you're triggered, and when you speak to regulating your emotions, like. You need to be able to do that. See, like, that's something that people don't understand. Like, you got to be three things. Emotionally aware. You need to know how you feel. you need to know, you need to be emotionally intelligent. You know what you're feeling, and you need to be emotionally mature. You need to be able to regulate those emotions, because I can get mad, don't mean I need to act out of my anger. You follow what I'm saying? So those three things is a result of doing personal development, and therapy is help for that, because you got somebody that don't know you. You got somebody that's not, you know, they're not in your life. So you can speak freely about the people you care about without it being a perspective that will carry on. And you can just unload it and give them everything that's on your mind. And then they can provide, if they're a good therapist, a framework, practices. Like, oh, you dealing with that? Oh, this is how you do. When this happened, when this come about, you know, this is how you offset that trigger. This is how you regulate this emotion. And you need that level of coaching.